I think so.
Yes.
Yeah? Is it not loud enough? You can't hear me? How about now? All right. Much better? There we go. All right. So, there are probably other things we had as an agenda when we left to go to Uganda, but there were three things particularly. We wanted to see the work that the church is being done in Uganda. What are we supporting go? And let me just say this. You know, we support Francis. We don't support him a lot. We support Raymond more. But we do support Francis, and he's being supported by other churches. And I'll be very honest with you. When I left, I had questions about how much money he got as support. I can assure you that question has gone away because this is what I know. When we went to Masesi and we saw hundreds of Christians, and that's not an exaggeration, hundreds of Christians, and then we went to Peta, where the congregation there is about 450, about 200 children, but it's huge. And then you go to Tororo, and he's not the preacher there, he goes there twice a month, but he's involved with that work, and he helped start that work. Those are his works, and just a rough number, there's the better part of 1,000 people that meet because of Francis and Rosemary. And so, whatever it is he's doing, and whatever they're doing. And I can assure you, when we go through these pictures, you would not want their job. You wouldn't want to do what they do. When I said earlier that I was glad to be back home, you go to Uganda, and they truly are, you know, they're not even 100 years behind us. Some things we've never been where they are. And that's just a fact. As a society, there's things that they do or don't do that we have never been there. We've never lived in mud huts. We've never had grass roofs. We have never lived like they live. And in the better parts of their society, they're 50 or 60 or 70 years behind us. I mean, they just are. Now, you'll see maybe in some of these pictures, it's funny how many people have cell phones. They have no money, but they have cell phones. It's funny. I'll just go through this. Okay, so the first thing is to see what exactly is going on. Provide accountability to the East Valley Church and the individuals who continue to contribute. I believe that's important. If as individuals or as a church we are going to solicit funds for people or for Christians, there needs to be accountability. And we wanted to provide that. And then the last thing is to identify ways to support ongoing and future opportunities whereby Christians can invest their earthly wealth in order to gain heavenly treasures. We're talking about spreading the gospel and helping the poor Christians. And that's what we tried to do, and I think we've done that. So we arrived in Uganda on Monday the 8th. The picture on the bottom left is actually Lake Victoria when we were flying over. And then at the top is I'm with Francis, and the bottom is Tammy is with Rosemary. They met us at the airport, and we started our trip. And this is the Masesi Church. Matter of fact, all the churches we were a part of on the eastern side, except for Truro, they meet under tents. And most of the ones on the western side meet.
Sorry, there was a request to turn lights off. Is this better for folks?
That works for me. I just didn't know if it would do anything to the computer. Yeah, well, I remember last time we did that, it shut it off. I saw. Okay, good. I didn't know that. Okay. So the picture on the bottom with myself, Francis, and Ronald. Ronald was my interpreter at Masesi. And just to share something with you, actually it's, I'll put it on the next slide here because that's where it's at. The Church of Masesi has many widows and orphans. I say this is the poorest of the poor. Many were formerly prostitutes, adulterers, whatever it is. And they've had the gospel preached to them, and they have been converted to the Lord. And so the makeup is a bunch of people that we never would have anything to do with in the world around us. But that is the world that they've come out. And
Is this the necessity is the same as the Jinja or the Lakeside Church?
it is. Yeah, the Lakeside in Jinja got shut down. The government repossessed, they moved.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, that's their necessity. And matter of fact, the place where they're at, it's rented from the community, and there's no telling how long they have that for sure. They might end up moving again. So because of the environment there, 90% of the Necessity Church has HIV. Okay, that's sad. I mean, it really is, because you say, well, what hope do they have? Ronald, who was my interpreter, he has HIV. They just, men there, if you're married here, be glad you're not married there. If you're a woman here, be glad you're not a woman there. Women there have no rights, zero. Can't divorce husbands. And husbands can do literally whatever they want to do. They can openly have another wife or a girlfriend or concubine. They do whatever they want. And the women can't do anything. So the husband comes home after he's been with a prostitute somewhere or another woman, and he gives his wife AIDS or HIV, and the children are born with it. So 90% of the community has it. And if you want to pray for something, it might be for our government, because typically I'm not caring about government programs, but our government used to do a lot for AIDS and HIV, drugs for Africa. And since Uganda and Kenya, yeah, President went over there and said, you guys need to not outlaw homosexuality. It's against law over there to be homosexual. And they pretty much told him that they were kind of independent, and they thought homosexuality was an abomination, and they would not say it's okay. So the U.S. has pulled all their aid for AIDS.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. So these people in necessity that were getting medication are now having trouble getting medication. I don't know what that means, because this is just fairly new. But I know that, like Ronald, my interpreter, and his wife, both of their former spouses died of AIDS. And they have HIV, both of them. And without medication, which they've been taking regularly, who knows what happens to them. There's a different scene between the converted and those who are street beggars and prostitutes. Tammy, in her effort to verify what was being done with money sent to create these small businesses for these women so they can provide for themselves, these widows, she went into town to all their homes, and she ended up with telling one of the boys there, "You're my bodyguard." I mean, it was scary for her, because there were a lot of beggars that came, and they have no personal space there. I mean, kids, everybody. When you see the pictures we go through, you'll see the kids are on top of each other. You guys are sitting far apart. If you were there, you'd be right on top of each other. They have no personal space, and when you have something, they crowd right in on top of you. And that's the way it was there. There's a difference between the Christians and the non-Christians, and you can see what the gospel does there. So women there need help to start or to increase their business. In the last video, I showed a number women's businesses. I mean, it might be just a little stand with some tomatoes or cucumbers or the necklaces. Now, believe it or not, you probably heard that, they make those with paper. I don't know how, but that's an incredible thing. I look at that, there's no way that's paper, but that's paper. I mean, Angelina was showing a piece of paper that she was making a necklace with in that video that we showed. So they need help to better themselves, and if we help them do better, then they can support themselves and the orphans that they're taken to. Angelina, the one that was making the beanies, she has 10 of her own children and grandchildren, and she has 6 orphans that she takes care of. Now that's incredible. That is a testimony to somebody who has a heart, and she has a heart. She really does. They need a building. So for whatever that's worth, whatever that is, when it rains there, it pours. And One of the things 2 years ago Patrick was interested in was for some of us to pull together funds to build a building for the Jinja Church, and that's the Masesi Church now, because he knew something, obviously, the rest of us didn't know. They get rained out, and when it rains, they got mud. And when it has mud, what do? They meet under a tent, and when the rain is blowing sideways, they don't have what we have. I mean, there's nobody over there that has what we have here. I mean, nobody. So this is Masesi, where the young children dig in the dump for food and survival. They really do. I mean, this picture here, you'll see some adults there, but when we drove down the road, there's kids with them, and there's kids by themselves. You go there, you don't have to worry about leaving your kid alone that somebody's going to steal them. They will not be stolen. That's just a fact. I mean, they have 6 to 10 kids, and there's kids everywhere, and nobody's going to steal your kids. We saw them walking all by themselves. Matter of fact, there's going to be pictures in here where the kids, right here, the kids take care of kids. These kids, this is common. The picture at the upper left, that's from western Uganda. The rest of these are on the eastern side. But this is just everywhere we were, that little kids were carrying littler kids. And Tammy was watching at one place where she was, there was a little baby in the dirt for at least 15 minutes with nobody around. And finally a little boy or girl came and picked up that little kid, and the other kid that picked him up was about 5 years old, and took him off. And that's the way life is there. Very difficult. They said they have a lot of kids because a lot of kids die. So I don't know if that's they don't get too attached to them because they're going to die, but that's the way it is. Squalor, that hut there on the left is one of the nicer ones in Masesi. They have a lot of mud huts. You walk in a mud hut, you're on a mud floor, and just isn't the best place. Threw in a little good one for the kids. You like McDonald's or Burger King or whatever it is you like in and out, this is Uganda fast food. Down on the bottom left with that Coke, they do have Coke there. They don't have Diet Coke. They have Coke Zero, but they have Coke. That's a hot dog. Yeah, oh my goodness. They take a hot dog and they wrap it up in a bread and they bake it, and that's their hot dog. The bottom left, bottom right picture is a woman hawking bananas. They have these stands along the road, and if you stop and wave, if you wave like that, they still come, okay? Because all they're trying to do is make a buck a day. If they can sell a couple bananas, they're on their way to making their buck, because that's all they need to live on. So they have nothing. Upper right is pineapples. Nicest looking pineapples you ever seen in your life. Bigger than Hawaii pineapples. I mean, and they're really good. Upper left is Raymond getting ready to eat dried fish. So that was along roadside stand. That's fast food. And the women at PETA, and Brian, you're going to have to do the next one, but not yet. They're very thankful because a lot of things that we have done as a church for famine relief has gone to PETA. PETA is the congregation that has the least, money. They have no money. They don't. They're out in the village and they have nothing. I mean, by the time you get out, they don't even have bicycles. So it's very few cars, and there's motorbikes, and then it's bicycles, and then it's pretty much on foot. And they're out there on foot. So they're very thankful. So this next video was when we arrived, and I just want you to think about what you're seeing here because we represented the church here. So go ahead. Something starts, then people start coming. So they had a lot of people waiting. Day 2, I think, was based on day 1. They waited day 1 to see if we really showed up, I think, because day 2 there wasn't an empty chair. And that's the same place. They filled up. So you saw the empty chairs to start with, but the day 2 welcome, which is, I mean, just, I'll share this. I don't know, and you know me, I'm hardly ever without words. Day 1, when they did that, when I walked forward, not quite the same, but very much the same. I was hugged by more women, which is unusual for them. They hugged me. They are never hugged by a man. So it's an incredible thing. But they're all widows and orphans. I mean, most of them are just, you saw, it's all women and kids. Day 2 was better than day 1 as far as their care, because we talked to them on day 1. We even brought them some of the gifts from here, and they couldn't get over it. I mean, they truly were taken with
these are
what
the
we did.
children getting ready to get the salvation bracelet.
This is a video. We don't need sound, that's for sure. But this, we were doing clothing distribution and
If he were here, I would just ask him to do it.
the bracelets that Kelton and Maddie had made for the kids, the salvation bracelets. And you can see all the kids. There's just a gazillion of them. And they belong to that church.
Look at those beautiful
So
faces.
we tried to grab a few faces here. If you heard Tammy's dialogue right now, she would say, "Oh, you're sweet and you're cute," and, because they are. The kids there are absolutely, and no disrespect to you guys, they're incredible too. They are very loving, especially when they know that they don't have to be afraid of you. The word for white person is Mzungu, and everywhere we went, Mzungu, it was like people be standing on the side of the road, Mzungu.
Now Francis is going to interpret for the salvation bracelets.
There we go, there we go, Mzungu, that's right, they shouted. And on the eastern side, I don't know, but most of them were scared to death of me. When we were traveling in the car, if we got out at a restaurant or got out to get gas or got out to do anything, and there were kids that were staring, you know, they'd come, I'd start walking over to some guy, they'd turn around and run. And so it was funny, yeah, I mean, just, they're scared. But on the western side, it wasn't so much. You'll see later, I mean, the kids
children
actually,
in the U.S.
they're
make these
there.
for you.
So there's the salvation bracelets that we were giving, and Francis was
Because
interpreting.
we want to help you
And
to
we were
be an
telling them the
example to
purpose
those
of those.
around you.
And that's pretty much the end of that video anyway. So this is the Peta Church. The congregation is primarily widows and orphans. The poorest and the hungriest of our brethren in Uganda are here. The ones that live in the dump are not the hungriest. They're just the most, I don't know, dirty, filthy, come from bad backgrounds. These are the hungriest. Very little food is available, and they eat one meal a day, saw in the video earlier. They have absolutely no electricity and no running water in the village at all. And they have about 100 children that make up their congregation, a part of their church, that have no believing parents, but they're always there. They consider themselves to be part of the church family there. They have no believing parents, but they're there. They're at everything that they do, and so they're considered part of that congregation. Sources of income is needed to help them through droughts. Okay, that's what needs to be figured out, is how to help them. I mean, they have a drought right now, so it's not like we can do anything that's going to help them agriculturally. It's going to help them not have a drought next year. They probably will again. These are the kids. This is not uncommon, okay? A lot of them have worms. You know, the kids Masesi and Peta, you know, when we bought first aid supplies, one of the things that we got was worming things, which is readily available for kids there. Because they have a lot of worms. You guys would never think of that, right? You guys are going to sleep bad tonight, right? Horrible. Got worms. Life in the village. Now, you guys would like that. You would. The house on the left is where mom and dad live. Okay? That's where mom and dad live. And when you're 15 years old, if you're a guy, you're building one of those little huts out there. If you're lazy, you build a small little hut. If you got some ambition, you build a bigger hut. Because when your sister's 15, she's living with you. Okay? Unless she's married. That's where sisters. From 15, they're all kicked out of the house. Mom and dad finally get a house in the They have more kids. They have grandkids. That's right. They had a thought of having it to themselves. But that's what that village is. Those huts are all kids. They all are one family together.
They were there for a second or third bite.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. If you are a child in Uganda, this is what you're going to do. In Peta, anyway, and in Masesi, they have no water in the villages, and you have to go to a borehole, which is probably every 2 or 3 miles. They have a borehole somewhere, and you're going to walk with these yellow containers. If you notice on the left, there are 10 kids there, and there are 10 yellow containers. And you see that little girl on the right? She's carrying one of those containers. Because they start when they're 2, 3 years old. You watch them going down the road. You know, some might have little containers, but they all have a container. And what's interesting is all those kids walk there by themselves or with their siblings. It's not unusual. Drive down the road and see a child walking by themselves, 3, 4, 5 years old, carrying a water container, because that's what they got set for water. Lindy?
If they have no water, how do they baptize?
I have no idea. When we got back, I said to Tammy, I said, you know, I never asked Francis, where do you baptize people? You know, it's, you will see every once in a while there'll be a river. Now, Francis has a truck, okay, so a stream somewhere. But as you notice the grass and everything, it's all brown. The green plants, the tall ones, they're cassava plants. And the cassava takes about 18 to 24 months to ripen. It grows up into a plant, but it's the root that they eat. They turn that into some kind of a mush, you know, some kind of a, I don't know, starch of some sort. But you'll see cassava everywhere. So it looks like the land is green because cassava is hardy and it stays green. But it is dry as a bone there. It really is. So I can't answer that, but that's a question I have too, because I didn't ask. I thought about it later. I said, where do they baptize people? You and I are on the same page. I don't know. Daily life is a struggle. This little hut on the left, a woman lived in that. Okay, so when I say they have little huts, they have little huts. The boy in the middle, and you probably can't see it there, but no shoes. His clothes are not real nice, and you know that's the way it is. And of course, in the back, bottom right, another family village. This is a modern kitchen, and it's out of place because really this is Cedric's house, and so his wife has a modern kitchen, and what that means is on the right hand side she has a little room that is her kitchen, and her pans are there. On the left is a high-tech stove. I'm serious. When we were there, Francis was looking at it. He says, "Can I get one of those?" I mean, I'm serious. Francis cooks outside too. You know, they don't have anything in their kitchen except a cabinet. Okay, so the house Francis lives in, it's in a nice area, but you would never live in it. I mean, you wouldn't think about living in it. It needs a lot of work, and there's nothing in the kitchen, and I didn't dare go in the bathroom. But that's a high-tech stove, and what it is, they use sawdust in it. They put a hole down through the middle, and they put the fire in the bottom, and it burns hotter. That's why in the kitchen on the right, there's a pile of sawdust. That's their fuel for their high-tech stove. So now that is compared with the typical village kitchen, because what you see against the brick wall, where the black is, that's where they cook. And that's very common. The utensils in the middle, the water jug and a couple pots and pans, that's it. You know, that's what you have. And they're doing okay. That's what they have. They actually have a nicer house there. You can see the bricks. It's not a mud hut. And you see they even have ducks walking in for a meal, right? That they might not last long. These are Uganda hotel showers. And I say hotel showers because if you live there, none of the people that we're associated with have these. None of them. Francis might. I didn't see his bathroom. Okay. Well, he moved now.
Oh, we did.
Yeah. He's now in Jinja. Yeah. Okay. So on the left-hand side, this is a nice hotel, by the way. We stayed in the best. We weren't taking our chances. You know, it's a pan. They give you a round plastic pan. You stand in it with a shower wand, and you let the little bit of water fall out of the wand, and you rinse and lather, and then you rinse off. On the right-hand side, that's the nicest hotel we stayed in. That was in Kampala. Paid the most amount of money for it, by the way. And it has a nozzle at the top. But again, I doubt if anybody would have that in their home and think they were doing pretty good. You know, if you went into a hotel here on your travel, you'd probably say, I'm not staying here. That is a public restroom. Men and women, by the way. So you look at that and you say, I can see how a guy could use that. I know, you're thinking. That's what, Tammy was appalled. You got to be kidding me. So, hotels. Rinse. Yeah, you got, there's a little, yeah, if they had water in them, that's used to rinse it all down. And that was a nice one. So, I'll share with you. In the mornings when we were going out, Tammy would early in the morning drink 2 bottles of water really fast. And then as we're going out the door to leave, she'd go one last time and pray her bladder didn't burst before we got back that night. Because there are no toilets out there. Zero. I mean, there's not a outside a hotel, you don't find a toilet. They're not there. And there was one at the Maliba church in the back. They do have a latrine. That's right. It's not even an outhouse. It's just, it looks like an outhouse, but it's a latrine. You're going to squat. Okay. Oh, let me go back. Can we sound that one?
But now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. God's grace has torn my heart from fear. His grace has filled with me. But now I'm found, was blind, but now.
Ugandan adult, 2,000, and that is shillings. And the rest of the world is 10,000.
That's less than $1.
That is 2,000, right. So about 10,000 is equal to about, what, $3. So actually $1 is, we had an exchange rate of 3,250 shillings for $1. So it's going to be close to what you're going to get. We got it at the airport. And just so you know, Olivia's Rock, where we're standing right there, I got that just to the left of that. So she knows it came out of the Nile. We made our way over to western Uganda, and the first place we went was Natandi. And again, outside, you can see all the people there. Preaching was interesting. You can see a cow behind me. I mean, there's cows, there's chickens, there's roosters, goats, there's everything around that could be a distraction, and they weren't distractions except to my wife, which she was taking in everything because it was a new experience. The kids there are absolutely incredible. And then we went to Kasambia, and the fellow on the left, you really see him really well. What's his name? Enoch? Enoch, right. Enoch, she asked him, he said, I'm the preacher. She said, how old are you? He said, he looked at her and she said, you look like you're 15. He said, I'm 35. But he looks really young. Yeah, he can really sing. Their singing there was really pretty good. The kids there, again, they're just incredible. But you can see there's 4 women there that have brand new babies. So we went from Kasambia to
Hello, these are the
Kitoko,
children of Kitoko.
and Kitoko is...
They are saying
you know
hello
what?
to you.
Let's back that one up again. So Brian, I'll let you do that one.
Hello, these are the children of Kitoko. They are saying hello to you.
Hello, semana somiri. Mutaki mune muwabadi. Hello. Hey.
I don't know why that was there, but the bottom picture, the fellow on the right, on the bottom, is Musa Sally Tom, and you'll see him in another picture. Then he's the father of Sakayo, who, the adopted, his parent. He cares for him. Excuse me. That's-
I don't think he's taken care of it. I think you have another gentleman there who is. He's the preacher there.
Yeah, he is the preacher there. Okay. So then these other men were men. You know, it's an interesting thing that that we've noticed is we have 2 separate works. We got Eastern Uganda and Western Uganda, and Eastern Uganda is more truly a mission where people need help. I mean, they're poor, they need help, they need food. Western Uganda seems to be more educated. They seem to be more zealous to learn the scriptures, and the gospel is just going out. The church in Kitoko, actually, it was funny because he gave us a report the day we were there, and he said we're 94 baptized believers and about 50 children. So you see the ratio of adults to children is different too. But the day we were there, when I finished, there was a woman that said she wanted to be baptized. And of course, appointment somewhere, and Raymond said, we got to go. So the men took her and baptized her, and now they have 95 baptized believers. He said that in an email to me the other day. So just a great group of people. There's a number of churches in the mountains there that have sprung off of this church. They've been there for 20 years, 21 years now. And there's a number of other growing faithful churches that are going. This Musa Sally Tom, this guy's incredible. He really is. He's a sharp guy. If you have been contacting anybody on Facebook or you want to, he's a guy who's worth spending time getting to know. He has a lot to offer. Mate and Irene, they're the 2 that we support in the Congo. Mate, they traveled 24 hours to come over to Kitoko. Kitoko is the closest congregation to the Congo border. So that's why they traveled there to meet us. Again, they don't speak a lick of English, and I don't speak Congolese, so I don't say that I have anything over them. Very nice people. They traveled 24 hours to see us, and then that night, they headed back because they wanted to get there before election violence took place. And they couldn't get across the border that night, so they had to go back to Raymond's house, and then the next day they did go and make it. But nice people. Isulu is where the fellow on the top is Ezekiel. And Ezekiel is the one that was in the last video that I showed in the first hour. He is running a radio program. What's that? Port Portal. Right. Port Portal is a distance from them, but there's a radio station there, and he does a radio program there. And since December of 2014, they have planted 3 congregations there. And it's not unusual for somebody to listen to one of the programs. Just one person will contact them and say, I'd like to study. They go, no matter how far it is, they go and they study with them. Now, if they have a convert, 3 or 4 of them are going to go and what they say is storm the village. They will go and storm the village, and they're going to convert people, and they'll plant a church. So we have a fellow, I don't know if we have a picture of him in here. I don't remember. Timothy, is he in here? I don't remember putting a picture in. Yeah, so southwest Uganda, remember a couple months ago, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 months ago, Raymond and a few others, Ezekiel and Cedric and one other fellow, went down to southwestern Uganda due to this, and they planted a congregation. And they had a fellow from Tanzania, right? I think he came from, no? Okay, but I mean, he came there, but I don't think he was there to start with what I'm saying. I think he came there to be the preacher, but I'm not sure. So the next video is we finally saw some wild animals. I know the kids have been waiting to see this. Water buffalo and monkeys, and the ones in the middle were the wildest ones, I'm sure. And then finally the video that I'm sorry, we got to go back. You got to hear the screaming in this thing, right? If you haven't seen this already, this is worth every time being here.
I've never seen this. I have seen baboons several times, but not this time.
Oh my
I have never seen.
Oh my God!
Don't
Riding on the car!
I've never
Oh
seen.
my God! That's unbelievable! Don't stop!
I want to
You want to fall off? Yeah, he's hanging on.
This one with the
Oh, baby down here.
Oh, I'll get him. No, you videotape him. I'll get the
Oh.
baby. Oh my gosh! Look at the baby! Oh my goodness! Look at the baby! Look at the baby! These are baboons?
Yes,
of course.
This one is on our car! Look at him! Oh my goodness! He jumped on our car!
He has to just jump down.
Look at all the
Yeah.
baboons!
Yeah.
Look at all the baboons! Look at the big fat one beside the road! Look at that! Look at that big fat one beside the road! Oh, there was another one!
Yeah.
Look at that!
Remember, your voice is going
It's
to
a big courageous baboon. This one can kill.
He can kill?
Oh, I'm sure they all
They're
can.
very bold.
Yeah.
They're very, very courageous.
Right. Yeah.
The extent of jumping. We have this in Tororo. They're bad. The ones from Tororo are not this courageous. This one.
Maliba, this is where Raymond is at, and Cedric, and I guess without a doubt, this is where we had our most fun. We really, really have fond parts for all of those people. I mean, they're just dear to us, and you know, that just gives you an idea. The kids, you know, they were all over us there. Of course, no matter where Tammy went, the kids were all over her. She had the chewing gum and the candy, and I mean, they flocked her.
Roll the tape.
Okay, this one would be interesting. You guys would like this one.
Roll the tire. Can you roll the tire? Roll the tire.
So somebody had a few more shekels than everybody else. But I can't imagine Any of you guys would want that scooter for what you have. And if you see the road, that actually in that area is a good road. And if you want to know why Francis's vehicle always needs repairs, well, I'm serious. It's bad. Patrick told me that I would find that to be true. It was worse. I could not have imagined how bad it was. The main highway has potholes everywhere. And when I say main highway, 2 lanes. 2 lanes with potholes and speed bumps. In the middle of the country, speed bumps. I'm serious.
Or the interstate.
Yeah, the interstate. 2 lanes in opposite directions. Oh, I'm sorry, need that one. This one's important.
I'm Shadrach from Maliba congregation and one of the preachers of the congregation together with Raymond. I'm very grateful to the church at East Valley Church of Christ and most especially to Vernon and Tammy and to Patrick for the support they are giving us, especially the support they are giving to the orphans. And I must say we are very much grateful and may God continue to bless you. The Tammy family is a blessing to us, and I must say we pray that God may continue to bless you, and also wish the best to the East Valley Church of Christ, and we beg that you keep praying for us as we also pray for you. We are very happy, and we say may God bless you. Thank you.
All right, we're about ready to wrap it up. Ongoing and future opportunities. Somebody else had asked me already, what do they need money for? And we've identified a few things that we just believe are real. And, you know, in Zacchaeus' video, you know, he said, thank you for the Bible. He was asked, Tammy asked him, of all the things you've been given, what is it that you are most appreciative for? You know, because he got new clothes and things, and he said a Bible. And that meant a lot to us. I mean, that was important to him. And actually, he wanted to hold it while he was doing his video. So our saying here is, buy a goat, don't be a goat. Remember, the goats are on the left on the Day of Judgment. So about $40 will buy a goat there that will produce 1 to 3, and most likely 2 to 3 offspring a year. I have no idea how else to help these people be self-sufficient other than a huge goat herd. Goats are easy to keep. And I believe, and this is just my gut feeling, just from the size of the village in Peta and what they have going, if they had about 1,000 goats between them, every year they would reproduce between 2,000 and 3,000 more goats. And so every year they could sell between 2,000 and 3,000 goats. And think about that, that's incredible, because they could sell them between $30 and $40 a piece. And that's a lot of money. It's more than anybody gives them in a year for food famine relief. And so they would have that available to them during the time of famine, that they could sell them and raise money. And I just believe that's a worthwhile project. Queen Creek Church gave us $500 to take with us to buy goats. It was interesting. And we bought 15 goats with $500 and I think $15 or $20 by the time we paid transportation. That's about what it was. And we left them enough money to buy another 28 goats. So there'll be 41 goats, or 43, whatever that number is. And we're hoping to get that number up to 100 before this year is over, maybe a couple hundred. And then in 3 years, that number should be 1,000. So the people there have been told they can't eat the goats, they can't sell the goats, they got to let the goats reproduce. Next year when we go back, that's part of our plan, is to check to see if they can keep from eating the goats when they're hungry. I don't know. You know, it's like when we were saying goodbye, the one older woman, you know, one thing the congregation there I was impressed with, and that's with every congregation on the east side. They have a lot of older widows, and all of the older widows sat in the front. They were all shown respect. And everybody called all of them, each of them, Mama. That was impressive. I mean, they referred to them, they'd say, Mama. And whether they're asking them a question or whatever it was, they showed great respect to these widows.
Vernon,
Yes?
there's a question back here as to whether the goats are useful for milk for them also.
Okay, the answer is no. They're only milking enough for their offspring. They can't do it. The exotic goats were the ones that were supposed to give a lot of milk, and they're hard to keep. You know, we bought 3 of those, and the male died, and one of them just had a kid, and another one's sick. So the exotic goats are hard to take care of. So these are just the natural goats, so they're good just to sell for meat. Adopt a business in Misesi. You saw the videos, the pictures of the women that just have little shops. We left money for 25 more to start businesses or to increase their business, right? Yeah, and so about $60 US dollars a piece will do them a lot. They can do a lot with $60. So if you want to adopt a widow to support so she can take care of herself, it'd be about $60. Famine relief, that's ongoing. That's not going to end till June or July. It's just real. Right now it's about $1,350 a week is what they need, and 94, 96 families, average 6-person family, 6 people family. It's just real. They don't have food. Support the orphans. That's in western Uganda. The one thing that I was really impressed with, I noticed it, the communities absorb the orphans. They do. They absorb them. You know, somebody's going to take the orphans in. In PETA, there are a number of orphans in the village, and somebody rotates taking care of them. They might not belong to anybody, but in the village, they take care of the orphans, and that's just, it's incredible. And the last thing is purchase Bibles, both East and Western Uganda, about $10 a piece. Only New Testaments. Right now they don't have Old Testaments, but they would do anything to get New Testament Bibles. We weren't sure how much, but we asked, and Musa Sali Tom said that the church in Kotoko could use 40. I mean, that just is a big number right off the bat, and everybody needs Bibles. One of the members over at Queen Creek sent $100 for us to send to Francis for Bibles, and he bought those, and they were out at Tororo, you know. So, you know, easily a couple hundred Bibles would probably not even satisfy the need that they have. So, that is the end of what we've put together. So, you got questions or comments?
Who's preaching, how is Francis preaching in both PETA and Jinja? Is he doing that twice each Sunday?
Yeah, I don't know that either. He goes out, he's in, you know, Misesi, he's there every Sunday, that I know. So I don't know if there's an arrangement when he goes over to Tororo. He said he tries to go there twice a month, but there's Fred and Deo there who we did not get to meet.
Right.
And, yeah, no, PET is out in the village, and they only go there when they have to go there twice a month. You know, they're in PETA and Tororo twice a month. Yeah. Thanks.